Hey friends. I don't usually do this because I don't know, I just don't. Um, but I'm like really emotional today, and I just wanted to talk about it because these are like happy emotional things. Like these are like happy tears. Um, so for those of you who don't know, both my boys live with my mom and dad up in Fairfax. And they attend school with Fairfax County Public Schools. I sent Anthony up to live with my mom October of 2024 because he was not getting the right supports in Page County. And I could just see that he was going to slip through the cracks. He is has ADHD, high functioning autism, but he also is one of those kids that masks a lot in school and will, like, for those of you who don't know what masking is, pretty much if you're masking, you are kind of mirroring the expectations, both how you act, how you speak, all the things of those around you, and you kind of like hold it together, and then when you get home, you like, it's like after school restraint collapse, you like completely melt down. And Anthony was having a lot of that in school. In kindergarten, he was like 2 points away from being tested out of kindergarten altogether, and yet he was in a self contained classroom for the whole school year. I finally had to get an advocate to come with me to push for him to be in a gen ed setting. So he ended his kindergarten year with Miss Brenda Williams, who is one of the most phenomenal kindergarten teachers I've ever seen, like in all capacities. Some of my students had her as a teacher too, and there's so many things about her that are just incredibly impressive. The way she teaches, the way she treats the students, the way she really just sees the child. And so that was huge for me. And that really shifted my perspective of Anthony and what he needed to be successful. And then he started first grade completely in the general education setting, and he once again had a phenomenal teacher. He had Miss Amanda Shank, who again goes above and beyond what any teacher, I'm sorry, if there's a definition of a teacher who does not get paid enough, it is Amanda Shank. Goes above and beyond for every single one of her students, puts into place like accommodations to make them be as successful as possible, and to be able to exist in her classroom, and to be able to engage in the curriculum, and to be able to engage with their peers appropriately. Like, she does so much for these kids. Like, it is insane. Like, again, some of my students had her as a teacher, and I was always so impressed with her and her ability to just really captivate the students and get them engaged and love learning. And she still had these super firm, high expectations that were achievable for her students, and they rose to the expectation. So I felt like, once again, Anthony was with the right teacher. However, when his triennial came up for his special education services, they did his testing and determined he was no longer eligible for special education services, which to me was beyond frustrating because they had just spent an entire year with him in a self-contained classroom, and then a few months later decided he didn't need special education at all. And my thought was, why was he in that setting for that whole time when he could have been with his peers the whole time if he didn't need special education services? Of course, his therapists and his doctors, everybody disagreed with that, so I did not consent to that IEP. I went through a state complaint, started going to due process. We did settle before due process, got him the updated testing, and I had him move to Northern Virginia, live with my mom, so he could be in an environment that was going to be able to see him as a whole and be more successful. And this was the beginning of second grade. And so he went to second grade up there. He had an incredible teacher, Miss LaFond, and this team of special education teachers. And from the very first day, they were completely on top of it. They gave me the same energy and vibes as Miss Shank and Miss Williams, who really put his needs at the forefront and like, what does he need to be successful in this setting? They recommended him attending a social skills group for those services, and then they had him just receiving special education support in the general education setting, and he did phenomenal. In his like iReady testing in second grade, He was reading at a fourth grade reading level. He maxed out on the score for multiple areas. I don't remember what they all were, but it was like phonics, phonetic awareness, and one other one that he got the max score for those. And he really just is thriving. That being said, he's receiving a lot of support, and they are seeing him holistically. So they're able to provide him with the right accommodations and modifications to be successful. So this school year, he is in third grade. He has another incredible teacher, Mr. Timberlake, and his special education teacher is Jen Shadricks, who was my kindergarten teacher 30 years ago. And I just got out of, here's the tears again, his triennial IP meeting, where we discussed, do we want more testing? Are we going to see if he's still eligible? Well, obviously everyone in this team agreed that he would, most likely still be eligible. Like, let's do the testing. They had a ton of data from his IEEs, and they could have just said, we're just going to go with this data and we'll just, make our decision. But no, each person on the team was like, let's get more data. Let's get more information. Let's make sure we have all the information so we can support him better and have him be more successful. And especially with third grade being such a critical year, with the academic rigor increasing, standardized testing with SOL starting this year, I just really wanted him to be set up for success. So I was really, really, really impressed with the entire team. This is at Orangetown Elementary in Northern Virginia. And for me, it was so much more than just like, okay, these people know what they're talking about, because they do. They're experts in their industry. But they also were very interested in hearing what my mom had to say about Anthony and what I had to say about Anthony and our concerns, and what we wanted out of everything. And so the big piece that I kept pushing was, I just want all the data we can get. Let's get as much data as possible, and then we can make really informed decisions. And then if you have all the data, and we have the data from previous schools, and we have the data from his IEE, then we can really make a really good informed decision to appropriately support him now and in the future. And so the principal said, we might get back something that's going to say, okay, he doesn't need this, so we need to be prepared for that. And I'm like, that's fine, because if we actually have sufficient data from people who have his best interests at heart and they make an informed decision, that's all I can ask for. I'm not, expecting one outcome or not. What I'm expecting is that this team of people who are experts, who have my child's best interests at heart and really want him to be successful, are going to be doing the evaluations and are the ones deciding what services and supports he needs. His current special education teacher is really on board with just making sure he has the right supports. And she's been putting in incredible accommodations and modifications to help him be successful. And those accommodations and modifications are helping him build his confidence and be successful in his classroom. And I really the meeting ended and I literally just started crying, because this is the second time I've had an experience with Fairfax County Public Schools where I feel like my child is being supported in the way that I would want him to be. Seeing him holistically, not just seeing that he's fine, or he's friendly, or he's happy, or he's such a social kid. Yes, seeing those things, but seeing also some of the deficits that go with that. He has some of those pragmatic and social communication deficits, and he has these different sensory needs, and he has a lot of energy and is moving all over the place, and he has issues with his voice being too loud, and he can't whisper. Literally, he can't whisper. And so for me, today was so validating as a parent to be like, what I've been doing for him is working, because he is making such great progress and he is becoming such an incredible young man. He's almost 8 years old. But more than that I made the right decision to have him move in with my mom a year ago, because he has had the most incredible opportunities at this school where they really just are supporting him holistically. And that is such a beautiful thing. The whole holistic approach is evidence-based, research-driven, developmentally, that's how it should be. But to see it actually implemented and to be on the receiving end of that and seeing my child be successful because of these people and what they're doing. So, I know as a parent of children with special needs, I have three, 2, 5, and 7. All three of them have diagnosed autism. Anthony is level 1, Jackson's level 3, and Lily is level 2. That raising these kids and making sure they have the right medical and school and community services and supports and everything in place is like such a huge uphill battle, and it is exhausting. There's so many sleepless nights, and there's massive behaviors, and there's meltdowns, and there's so many things that we just don't have the answers to because there aren't answers to it, and there aren't the right supports, and there aren't the right services. So when I can get a little piece of one aspect of my kids' lives to be right, it makes it easier to keep fighting for them to be successful. So, I haven't always had a positive experience with Fairfax County Public Schools. When Anthony was in preschool, it was a hot mess. He had some great teachers, but things just weren't great for him. But right now, from the parent perspective, I mean, some of my clients are in Fairfax County Public Schools and they're not having this experience, but my kids right now, I'm just, big shout out, thank you to Fairfax County Public Schools, specifically Orange Hunt Elementary, Hunt Valley, for having quality teachers who know what they're talking about, who have their students' best interests at heart, and really want them to be successful. This is gen ed teachers, this is special education teachers, this is related services, this is PE teachers and specialists who do art and music. Like, I have never met such an incredible group of educators as a whole who really have just prioritized not just my kids, but all the students in the school, making sure that they have what they need to be happy and successful now and forever. So this is my 5-star review for Orange Hunt Elementary and Hunt Valley Elementary. I'll loop in there as well because they've been great too. But especially Orange Hunt Elementary. Last year and this year, we're going on year 2. And I just, it's incredible. The leadership from the top down. I feel like there's a culture that has been created, and this expectation set by the principal, Karen Tuttle, who I think it's really the most incredible, beautiful thing to see because it's bleeding down. Everything that her fierce advocacy for the students at her school bleeds into all the teachers and the way that they see and they treat their students. So, sorry this was so long, but I just really needed to give a shout out, give some context to the chaos that's been happening with Anthony's education. And I'm just really happy with what's going on with him in school. And I'm just really excited for this school year for him because I think this is going to be a turning point for him. I think he's going to be able to build the confidence he needs to really thrive. And I'm just grateful. So, thank you.